All right, let's talk about something that's a huge deal for any business. These cybersecurity myths that are floating around. These aren't just little misunderstandings. They're actually massive financial risks that can cost you millions. So let's just dive in and see how high the stakes really are.
So let's try and put a price tag on these myths. Take a look at this number, $4.44 million. That is the average global cost of a single data breach. And listen, that number isn't just about paying a ransom. Nope. It's lost business, it's regulatory fines, and it's that crushing cost of trying to rebuild trust with your customers. It's just a staggering amount that really shows how one little security oversight can be financially devastating.
And if the money wasn't scary enough, let's talk about time. On average, it takes a company 241 days to even identify and then contain a breach. That's almost 8 months. Just think about that. Imagine a hacker having free rein inside your systems for that long, just quietly doing damage while you have absolutely no idea.
Now, if you're sitting there thinking, that's just a problem for the big guys, for the giant corporations, think again. For small businesses, the fallout is even worse. A shocking 60% are forced to shut their doors for good within just 6 months of a major cyber attack. This isn't a disruption for them. For many, it is a complete and total wipeout.
So here's the really crucial point. The biggest threat isn't always some super sophisticated hacker in a dark room. A lot of the time, it's our own internal beliefs, these myths, that leave the front door wide open. They're basically expensive vulnerabilities, just disguised as common sense.
So where do these vulnerabilities actually come from? Well, let's start with myth number 1, a belief that leaves countless businesses totally exposed. This idea that formal compliance, it's only for a select few.
You've probably heard this one before, right? Oh, SOC 2? That's just for the big tech giants. We're not big enough to need that stuff. This kind of thinking leads so many businesses to just ignore security standards that were literally designed to protect them and, more importantly, their customers.
But here's the reality. Security compliance frameworks aren't just for big tech. They are absolutely essential for any organization that handles customer data. I mean, take two of the most common ones. You've got ISO 27001, which helps you build a solid, structured security system from the ground up. And then you have SOC 2, which is all about ongoing proof that your controls are actually working. They're not competing. They're complementary tools. Whether you're in finance, healthcare, retail, any industry where trust is everything.
And this chart right here, this shows you exactly why that mindset is so dangerous. 43% of all cyber attacks are aimed directly at small and medium-sized businesses. But get this, only 14% of them are actually prepared to defend themselves. Believing compliance is a niche issue isn't just a mistake. It's a massive gamble against some pretty terrible odds.
And this leads us right into our second myth, which is all about leadership. Specifically, it's about a huge misunderstanding of what a modern security leader really is and what they do.
Okay, so the myth goes something like this. A virtual or a fractional chief information security officer, a vCISO is somehow less than. It's seen as a temporary fix, a band-aid, not a real strategic leadership role.
But the reality couldn't be more different. A vCISO isn't just some part-time IT consultant. They are an executive-level strategic partner who is focused on your long-term security. And it's not just for small businesses either. Huge enterprises bring them in all the time for their specialized expertise. I mean, there's a reason the market for this role is expected to more than double in the next decade.
This brings us to a really common and frankly dangerous belief, the idea that you can prove you're secure with just a single test.
You know the one I'm talking about, right? The myth that getting a pen test once a year is like getting a clean bill of health from the doctor. You pass, you get your little certificate, and you figure, great, we're secure for the next 12 months.
But here's the thing. A pen test is just a snapshot in time. Your business is constantly changing, you're adding new software, and new threats are emerging every single day. Look at this. In 2024 alone, critical vulnerabilities grew by 150%. Security isn't static. It has to be a continuous, ongoing process of checking and rechecking.
Okay, so let's group our last two myths together, because honestly, they both come from the exact same flawed thinking. This whole check-the-box approach to security.
Myth number 4 is that audits are about finding fault. You hear the word audit and you immediately tense up, right? You think its purpose is to point fingers and assign blame. But in reality, a good audit is a constructive tool. Its real job is to give you insight, to make your processes stronger, and to help you make smarter, more informed decisions. And that flows right into myth number 5. The idea that GRC, that's governance, risk, and compliance, is just about ticking boxes to make someone happy. It's not. GRC is an integrated strategy. It's how you line up your security with your actual business goals. It's how you turn security from a chore into a real strategic advantage.
So what's the common thread here? When you look at all 5 of these myths, they all stem from the same dangerous pattern. We try to simplify something that's complex, we ignore the fact that security has to be continuous, and ultimately we just postpone the tough decisions that we really need to be making.
Okay, so we've busted the myth. Now let's pivot. Let's talk about how we move forward, how we stop seeing security as just another cost and start seeing it as a trust engine that actually drives your business.
And for anyone out there who's thinking about delaying investment or maybe cutting the security budget, just look at this slide. The data is crystal clear. Companies that plan to cut security spending see a massive 70% spike in security incidents as a direct result. Cutting corners here doesn't save you money, it just invites disaster. The bad guys never wait, and neither should you.
So what's the actual path forward? Well, it really comes down to 4 key steps. First, you've got to recognize if any of these myths are alive and well in your own organization. Second, be honest and assess where you really are with your security. Third, build a strategy that doesn't just block threats, but actually helps you reach your business goals. And finally, you have to commit to security as a process of continuous improvement, not a one-and-done fix.
Because here's the bottom line, the one thing to take away from all of this. Effective cybersecurity is not a product you can buy off a shelf or a test you pass one time. It is a continuous, collaborative, and deeply strategic process that has to be woven into the very fabric of your organization.
And that leaves us with one final and I think crucial question to ask yourself. Is your security program just a cost on the spreadsheet that you're trying to minimize? Or is it your competitive advantage, a core reason why your customers choose to trust you over everyone else? How you answer that could make all the difference.